Okay, I know what you're thinking. Who does a monthly report halfway through the next month? This guy. But I have good reason. We did a big move. We were very busy this last week. A lot of stuff happened. Better late than never, though. Here is your I-filled monthly report on Star Citizen's progress in March. Thank you for coming to my tomato talk. Of course, a big thanks to my newest patron, Temushin. In AI, the content team worked on the engineering behavior, along with the tourist, security, and tour guide activities. These NPC archetypes will be largely based off the same sort of interactive system as the bartender from last year. Now, besides the server lag that causes them to not run so great, this hopefully is a sign that these NPCs will continue to be developed at an increased rate. These near-term future behaviors include the medic, illegal goods dealer, deck crew, and janitor. Sounds like a lot of people that might be needed in Squadron 42. A quote from the team themselves makes it sound like they want to really start diving deep and fleshing out the existing areas, coinciding with the push to make the first star system grade A this year. The features team completed the first pass on subcomponent targeting, something we first learned about last month. This will mainly be apparent in battles including capital ships. The pilot security is getting a bit of an overhaul to not be such an incredibly, exhaustingly, annoyingly derpy NPC. Now when they discover you have illegal content, they're going to tell you to surrender and hopefully stop scanning you every 2 minutes. Ugh. The team also built in the capability of AI to dock at supported locations. What could come of this is that capital ships involved in the Fleet Week celebration in May could actually dock with the stations. Now, we probably won't be able to interact with them, I won't go hoping for all that, but it's at least better than the whole float at the station nearby the docking port of last year's event. The tech team worked quite a bit on EVA, something that's been taking priority lately. A lot of stuff which I don't understand happened, and the melee combat system received some focus to help lock down transitions and animations. The character art team progressed with several upcoming location characters in Orison, hospitals, and the refinery decks. A new mining theme was completed, new armor was worked on for later in the year, and old armor types began to see updates to allow physicalized interiors. In addition, armor itself is being set to exist as standalone objects which can be carried, moved, and stored. The modular art team pushed the ever-popular colonial outposts to the gray box phase from white box. After seeing this move through 2 design phases and now further development, it's been a joy to watch its journey from drawing to in-game. The new docking arms and lobbies are also being finalized for a new upcoming event. Yeah, I guess that's confirmed. As with other teams, more work was completed on Orison with the first ever appearance of volumetric atmospheric gas clouds, which will surround the landing zone. Drink it in, folks. We've waited years. I'm gonna go ahead and say right off the bat that I'm gonna wait to pass judgment on this feature because we've been waiting a long time for it. This is a single snippet. Let's wait till we see it in the game to see what it really has to offer. The final polish pass is taking place on many of the location's areas, and it's looking like the game's next landing zone should be arriving in time for July's update, as far as art is concerned. In ships, the majority of the work on Crusader's Hercules was completed, and an as-yet-to-be-announced ship is continuing through the final art phase as we speak. It couldn't be the 404 from Origin, right? That was already announced, it can't be double announced. The Aegis Redeemer also progressed through final art. Considering this ship is still 3 updates away, I think we can assume the unannounced ship may be scheduled for any time from May to October. More ships have received their hard surface shader pass, allowing them the ability to receive new paint types, as well as wear and tear. These are 2 important features for the sake of customization and roleplay, and let's be honest, a lot of people who are into those things are going to play Star Citizen. The Aegis Gladius, consistent testbed for new technologies and primary ship in Squadron 42, was updated to the gold standard by the art team. meaning Art has checked off on the Gladius for commercial release, and the tech, experience, and features team should have all the locations and guides they need to fully complete the ship. We will see how long it takes. Start your timers, guys. What will be interesting to me with this is whether all features on the ship are now considered to be understood and final, because if the art for the ship can't change, they can't bring in any new features. That could be a big confirmation and pretty good news for those people who are wondering, how long is it going to take until ships no longer require a rework? The art for the Tumbrel Nova tank continued alongside the design team who is working on the movement feel for the treads, which have never been used before, and polishing the overall experience of the vehicle. Work also continued on the Constellation Taurus in anticipation of a July release. Early testing has commenced on the multi-tool salvage attachment, as the art team sent the standalone tools as well as said attachment through the first pass art blockout. The Ultiflex crossbow was iterated on, with animations and rigging receiving work for the upcoming stealth weapon. With a newly worked Freelancer Derelict variant out there somewhere in the game, the audio team got deep into work on improving the ambiance of all Derelict locations in the game. Go camp out for a night. Let me know what's changed, guys. Of course, the audio team also put in work on the Nova tank, highlighting their excitement for the moving parts, turrets, and cannon. So I've continued to start getting some assistance on understanding this segment. I'll continue to try giving you guys insight on what's going on based on the feedback I get. So this past month, engineering spent time building the physics support for multiple solar systems, essentially replacing the existing default physics grid with a new type that covers multiple systems but maintains the same properties. This will help greatly with debugging and new system implementation. Various code optimizations were performed and ray-based technologies were continuously utilized to help detect object intersections. Velocity limits on explosions and shockwaves were removed, which may make them harder to see but perhaps was important in creating something more realistic. This is the only time I actually captured a shockwave on camera, but I thought it looked really good and I'd like to see this more often. The Gen 12 renderer continued to receive general optimizations, while the general cloud technology also improved with additions to light diffusion. Empty space skipping is being implemented with gas clouds, something we heard about a while ago at CitizenCon, where they showed how culling hidden objects can help with performance. The character features team spent a lot of effort putting detail and polish into the character push and pull feature. This work allows the movement, inertia, and acceleration of these carts the ability to affect the amount of strain and effort your character is under visibly while moving the objects around. You can find these objects around cargo stations and underground bunkers. The US features team worked on the Reputation System app and the Asset Manager, two of several big UI improvements being implemented this year. In the US, the team continued to plan for the upcoming cargo refactor by physicalizing the cargo contained in ship grids. This update will fall under the umbrella of the overall cargo refactor, which will add things like 32 SCU boxes and a better understanding of how we can buy and sell cargo ourselves. Progress was also made on the next dynamic event, which is in the final stages of preparation, likely due around the time of Fleet Week in May. Keep an eye out for hints and sneak peeks regarding this event in the next several weeks. The team also progressed on the upcoming security systems, which will allow NPCs to mark a player as trespassing in certain areas without applying a crime status. They also got to work on the new Starfarer and Caterpillar Derelict ships for the new missions outed in April. New harvestables and FPS combat missions were also added, and space combat mission locations were quadrupled around Crusader. Keep an eye on that mission count over the patches. Every time a new patch comes out, I like to keep track of how many missions you can find around a planet to see if they can sustain a full gameplay experience around each planet. We're not quite there yet, but I feel like we're getting pretty close to a tipping point. Progress also continued on the newly elusive Pyro system. The thruster-specific ground VFX that have been mentioned more recently also continued. The aerodynamic wake effects that cause dust to kick up when a ship flies close to the ground at high speed is currently a focus. A very eye-candy feature, to be sure. 3D rendering was focused on in MFD screens, no doubt taking advantage of the 3D building block system that has been progressing for the better part of 2 years now. The lighting team last month spent a lot of time working on the unique moods and lighting animations of the docking and security docking areas on space stations. The lighting animations really do add something nice to the area. Lighting also worked on the runtime probes that will help create better lighting conditions in interior locations. This correlates with various tidbits about new outpost archetypes being developed as a standard by which remote locations will be graded for implementation. More work has gone into the hospital locations coming to cities in the game as well. These seem to be coming along well for implementation in October. One notable movement in QA was engineering focusing on server stress testing and minimum PC spec testing to help improve the stability and performance of the game across the board. The SST team, which I think I will occasionally but not consistently call them from now on, is currently working on deliverables for the upcoming demonstration of the quantum system. Not gonna lie, this presentation is getting quite the mentioning here and there. Hopefully the presentation lives up to the anticipation. The tech animation team worked a lot on the in-house facial pipeline, aiming for a faster and more intuitive approach to creating those complicated facial systems. Part of this effort includes incorporating the smooth skinning decomposition, which was mentioned on last month's monthly report as well. Progress. Turbulent delivered the first demo of the fleet management system, which is currently just an internal tool. It'll be interesting to see in what forms this reaches our hands in the future. Turbulent also just casually created some software in support of tools developed by the Montreal-based Locations team. This is the team that's going to be largely based around creating the new planets and star systems we're going to be experiencing, and actually released a demo of what the kind of stuff they're going to be shooting for is a couple of months ago. The UI team further developed the underlying tech for the new maps systems, and ported some old UI to the building block system that allows things to work and look much better. Yeah, that first point is almost all I really care about when it comes to UI right now. That being said, it's very cool the team is in pre-production on the new medical UI as well, with full production scheduled for this month. And for more of what that might entail, I would consider checking out Inforunners, another Star Citizen YouTube channel who had a video on it not too long ago. I'll leave that in the video description for you. Oh, and their radar and scanning UI for vehicles and on foot was polished too. Throughout March, the vehicle team also worked on the radar scanning system. If you haven't realized, this is a seriously big feature in the works that we've been seeing on almost every monthly report for at least 7 months now. They focused on the ping feature specifically, making finding distant objects more satisfying than the current model of scanning, and having no clue what you're actually doing. Oh, was that a point of interest off to your left that you just got by scanning? Too bad, already gone. Scan again. New UI and locomotion were worked on as well, including the tread movement for the Nova tank we spoke about earlier, making the vehicle feel more tanky across all planetary surfaces. Honestly, we're gonna need some help on networking and physics before that ends up feeling real good, I think. Of course, the tank, especially its main weapon, received a large amount of VFX work last month as well, including the shockwave which emanates from the cannon and reacts with loose materials on the ground and the vehicle itself. And though this might not be released in the initial feature that's released, it's pretty cool that that's going to be a part of it at some point. And of course, as mentioned earlier, the VFX team is also working on the individual thruster volume effects, giving thrusters a more powerful and full effect when hovering around under gravity. This will need some assistance from audio and some additional VFX, but I'm glad to see work going into a seemingly small feature that I think is going to have a pretty wide impact to all players who are flying ships in the game. That does it for March. I'd like to apologize for this taking so long. I was really out of it the last couple of weeks, guys. We had a temporary move from Turkey to the US last week, which really took me out of my game on YouTube and caused me to miss quite a few Twitch streams, so I'm working my way back up to it, and I'm hoping we can get back to full speed in the next couple weeks here. I'm very grateful for all of you understanding this situation and showing some patience, and I hope you'll subscribe to the channel for more updates on the game and additional forms of content that I'll be announcing in the next couple of months. I'd like to thank you for hanging around and checking this video out, and I'll catch you later. Special thanks to my top supporters TK, Valiant15, Ben N, The Alpaca, The Huntress, Holston Coop, Falcus Vipus, Dasek, Guilty Conscious, and Extreme Tuber 7.